Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Music Chronicles podcast. I am your host, Angelo Sarmiento, joined for the first time, but also not really the first time, by my new co-host, Shane Holmunez. How's it going, man?
Hey, I feel official.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So, first thing that anybody listening might notice is that audio sounds very different. That's because we decided after deciding to kind of, join together on the podcast as like co-hosts, we decided to go in on some gear together. So we each have our own mic now. Before we were just sharing a USB mic. Now we've got our own condenser mics. We've got a audio interface. So we're, doing this for real. We're, upgrading.
Yeah, and how long has it been since you asked me to be co-host?
A few weeks, maybe a month, something like that.
Yeah, because this has all been in the works for a little while now. At least, as soon as you asked me, I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then we need to do some upgrades. And, we came up with the interface idea, and we're using Cakewalk now. And,
Yeah.
But this at least is week 3 of us trying to do this podcast.
Yeah.
So
because of all
it's
sorts
been more
of
than
fucking
a month.
difficulties.
Yeah, because we had to order the interface.
I had to order my mic and
Yeah,
all the shit that came with it.
it's been more than a month.
Yeah.
When was the last time? I mean, the last time we did a podcast. Excuse me, I just ate.
Same.
Last time we did a podcast, it was before the.
It was before Louder Than Words came out.
It was before the Bat Fest, I thought.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes to both. Yeah.
Was it before Louder Than Words?
Well, yeah, because we were...
I know we talked about it, but
Yeah, we were
I can't
talking...
remember if that was the one, if it came out.
I mean, if memory serves, yeah, I mean, that was one of the major talking points on the last episode was that we were getting ready to release Louder Than Words as a new single, if I remember correctly, or maybe we said it as if it had just come out. I can't remember.
I know it was before Bat Fest, right?
Yes,
And
definitely.
how long ago was Bat Fest? That was...
in October.
It was October.
End of October, so a little over a month.
Yeah. So this has been in the works for a little while. And I was absolutely honored that you'd asked me to be part of it officially. I definitely enjoyed being on it, and I'm glad that we put all these upgrades and these different things into motion. And I'm excited because we just got done with the new logo.
Yep.
And I think we just posted it today officially from your profile picture.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, because I was trying to look to see how the new logo would look in like the Instagram like circle, just to see how everything was lined up. But my dumbass instead clicked on the option where it was to link to my Facebook profile picture, which is linked to my Instagram. So then it was just my profile picture. So so for a little bit I had 2 accounts with the same picture on it on Instagram.
That's confusing because
Yeah.
I use those little things to totally determine, because the only one I really focus on is the bands.
Yeah.
Man, sorry about that.
No, you're good. I mean, we both just ate, so
Yeah.
there's definitely gonna have to be some a lot of like belching, and in my case,
a lot of coughing.
in my case, coughing. That's
We'll
gonna
get
be
to
on
that.
the cutting room floor.
But oh gosh,
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. What the hell was I just talking about before I rudely burped and interrupted myself? My stupid brain.
What the fuck did you just say? We were talking.
Oh, the band's Instagram.
Yeah, that's
right.
it. Yeah, you mainly focus on the band's Instagram.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that I focus on mine and the band's, but that's just not true. I think I just posted something for the first time in months.
Yeah.
On my personal Instagram, and I think I posted it on my Facebook.
No, I get it. I mean, I used to try to focus on my personal Instagram. I mean, because I had, for a little bit, I had the idea that like, oh, maybe I would actually try to be like a fucking Instagram drummer for a bit and actually like upload like content to it regularly. But most of my ideas were covers, or at least, I mean, yeah, most of my ideas were based around covers. But ever since fucking Moises, which is like a pretty popular app that a lot of drummers, I mean, a lot of musicians, but I mean, I've mostly seen drummers use it to like remove drums from tracks. Like they changed their policies so you can't do it the same way anymore. So
yeah, and
that got fucked.
I was just getting ready to start using it for guitar stuff too,
and
vocal stuff, and then they're like, oh, no more YouTube videos.
Yeah, just because of like Google's like policies, like legally they can't do it anymore, which, you know, it's
such
like
a lame excuse, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it, but it's for the short period of time I was using it, it worked like a fucking charm, man. Like I was using the free version, and then for a brief period of time I upgraded to the pro version, and the sound quality like was bumped up a lot, and I was like, wow, this sounds like even better, and I have more options for like separation. And then like 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, I can't do that anymore.
I don't know
That's
why.
fun.
I don't know why Moises and YouTube don't partner up and
That would be ideal.
let it. You know, maybe they charge more for their subscription service, but that cut goes to YouTube, so that way they can, you know, somehow license it or something like that.
I mean, that'd be great if they could, you know, work something out, because, I mean, to me,
what does Smule do? Smule's isn't that karaoke?
Yeah, it's
app?
a karaoke app. But like the thing is with Smule is that they upload, I mean, kind of like how you would find karaoke tracks on YouTube. There's different versions of the same song.
Got it.
So it's all like, who knows where
it's not the official.
No, it's not the official one. It's like cover versions that were adapted to be karaoke versions.
I get that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I get it. That's a bummer though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh well.
Yeah, but going back to you know, talking about you joining the show and us getting new gear and kind of like rebranding a bit. This is something that I've been sorry, that's going to be a lot of that this episode, guys. I'm like getting over a cold. So
we'll go into that here in a minute.
I guess. Yeah, yeah, but going back to, you know, new stuff for the podcast and, you know, new co-host as well. Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about for a while, just because, you know, like doing a podcast is something that for the last couple of years has been something that I've thought about doing for the longest time, but I didn't know how to get started or, you know, how to do it, just because it's something that's like totally new for me, like as far as like trying to put myself in sort of a new creative outlet that's, you know, outside of music, but is also kind of alongside it in a way.
Yeah.
And, you know, having you on the podcast, like so many times, like we always get into really like, you know, deep conversations about, I mean, just about anything. I mean, but most especially about music, like on or off the podcast.
That's what bums me out, right?
Yeah.
Like we should record most of the conversations you and I have.
Yeah, they make great episodes.
Oh, I know. And then we get on the camera. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. That's another upgrade that will be coming down.
Yeah. But,
you know, soon, hopefully sooner rather than later.
We get on the air, at least, you know, with what we do, and we still have great conversations, but it's like sometimes we're trying to go over stuff that we've talked about. We miss big points that we talk about outside of the podcast.
Yeah.
And so it's just nice to have these conversations while recording.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, like it was the main reason that I wanted to get a co-host is just because, you know, I look at a lot of those solo episodes that I do by myself, and there's just a lot of episodes that, you know, I'm not going to name specifics or whatever, but like there's, you know, just certain episodes where I feel like I'm really forcing it because I'm like, ooh, I just need an episode because I haven't done an episode in a while, so let me just ramble about this in my bedroom alone for a little while, you know, and record. And the thing is, all of the podcasts that I listen to are based around conversations between one person and another person. It's like solo podcasts, you know, do exist, but I just, you know, I realized that I had to realize, you know, after a while, like I don't listen to those kind of podcasts, and I want to try to make something that's sort of in a similar vein to the stuff that I consume and that I enjoy.
Nice.
And that's, you know, I mean, it's the same principle with our music. It's like we make music that we would listen to anyway. So it's like I want the podcast to be the exact same way. I want to create something that I would listen to if it wasn't just me and you.
Well,
you know?
I was going to mention that too. It's like, look, I don't necessarily listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
I I just don't. Every once in a while, I'll see clips from like Joe Rogan, or I'll see clips from
Yeah, the podcast king.
Oh, of course,
King Rogan.
You know, I'll see clips from other people. You know, whatever. I can't think of their names right now, but you know, and it's good, but I just don't get caught up in listening to it. But like all the time.
Yeah.
But I enjoy conversations. I enjoy talking. I enjoy talking about music, and you know, I enjoy all of this stuff. But you kind of hit the nail on the head about something. I mean, yeah, you might enjoy listening, like you, Angelo. You might enjoy listening to podcasts on your own time and stuff like that. Just like how a lot of people like listening to music on their own time. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you like to create. You don't want to create music by yourself. I don't want to create music by myself.
Yeah, correct.
I love music, but I couldn't see me doing it all by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, not on the serious level that I'm doing it at now.
Yeah.
Same thing. You're kind of saying the same thing about podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, really the only like solo podcast I think I listen to is and even then I don't listen to it nearly as much as I do some of my other regular podcasts, but like Bill Burr's like Monday Morning Podcast, great podcast by the way. But, you know, he's mostly doing it by himself, but the thing is there's still that interaction kind of thing between him and the audience, because a lot of it is his like excuse me, is a lot of him responding to fan questions or answering advice topics and things like that. So there's still an interaction and a conversation, even though it's one person. Like there's still that element there that the previous episodes of this podcast don't have.
Yeah, there's substance.
Because there's like substance to it, whereas it's, you know, I'm not trying to like shit talk on like, you know, my old episodes too much or anything. That's not what this is about. But it's just, you know, I'm just trying to explain like sort of like my thought process of why I wanted to bring on why I wanted to bring you on as a co-host, and you know, just sort of just the direction for the future.
Right. Well, you know, another good podcast.
What?
Stone Cold's.
Stone Cold's
podcast. Now, I've only listened to that one thing of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one clip that you showed me. I can't remember how it goes, but
it's the story. If you haven't seen it, you got to go check it out. It's Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and he's talking about this one time that he got trapped in the shower. He falls in the shower. And I don't want to spoil it because it is such. You
need to look it up for yourself. It's hilarious.
It's so good, and he's so personable.
Yeah,
and he just keeps you going, and he'll plug his podcast every once in a while in context of the story he's telling.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. I was like, man, I didn't know. I mean, you see him on TV, and you're like, oh, that dude's just like a hard ass.
Yeah.
You know, a beer drinking fool, but. He's a podcasting beer drinking fool as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's really funny.
He's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, but I mean, you know, now I've kind of talked a little bit about, you know, my I don't know, like my thought process and like, you know, the podcast like going forward, like you know, like how do you feel about like, you know, coming onto it, and like I don't know, what do you see for the future of this?
I don't feel it's going to be a lot different. I mean,
probably not. No,
I think that the quality is going to keep getting better.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to keep putting time and effort, money into this, and we're going to end up, you know, continuing to add to it. But as far as like the dynamic is concerned, it's pretty much going to stay the same as it has for the past few episodes you had me on.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, it's just, here we are. We're talking, we're chit-chatting. You hear me clearing my throat, not because I'm getting over sickness, because we just got done with rehearsal.
Oh, yeah. You've been working your voice a lot.
A couple hours ago, yeah. And our rehearsals on Monday are our long days. Mm-hmm. So, which, they're still our long days, but they're not as long as they used to be.
No, I mean,
which is fine.
You know, if we're able to get everybody there on time, I mean, it doesn't always happen just because, you know, life, work, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, tough. You know, ideally we practice like on a Monday from like 4 to
9.
To 9. Yeah. So like 5 hours, give or take. And that's not including like us stepping outside for like a break or just chit chatting or whatever. So
yeah, and that happens. Yeah. But we get a lot done. I mean, we get in there and we just, okay, let's crank it up. Let's warm up a little bit, and then all right, what do we need to work on?
Yeah.
And
I feel like we practice a lot more than some other bands.
I know we do.
Yeah, just because like we've talked to like a few other like bands, and like we've talked about like oh, like we practice like 3 times a week. Monday we practice like 5 hours, and then the other 2 days we practice it like an hour or something. And it's just like, wait, y'all get together 3 times a week? It's like, yeah. How often do you guys get together? It's like, oh, like once every other month if we're lucky. It's like, oh shit, really?
They're really lucky if they get twice a month.
Yeah,
most of them. We've worked it out. We've worked how long have we been doing rehearsals on Mondays? I mean, ever since way before you were even in the band.
Yeah, and that was 5 years ago too.
Right. So
going on 6.
Damn near every Monday has been rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just kind of already in our schedule.
Yeah.
When we get, a lot of us have gotten different jobs and different things in these past 5 years, or I guess 6 or whatever, whatever it is now. But we've always kept that. We've maintained like, hey, Monday, I need my Mondays.
Yeah.
Not because I need it to myself, because my band needs it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yo, I've got another commitment.
Yeah. And we work it out, especially for the other 2 days. Wednesday, we all get together either 9 o'clock or 11, depending on what everyone's work schedule looks like.
Yeah.
If we can swing it, then we try and swing it earlier, so that way we can be done a little earlier and get home and,
yeah.
Spend time with our families and wives and whatever.
Or
and
sleep or whatever.
Whatever you want to do, yeah. And then Saturday, it's pretty much a standard 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we go and we'll do set. And we've got 2 shows coming up. And these 2 shows I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited about both of them, but I'm excited about this next show, especially because of the cover we're getting ready to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which we got to keep that up, man, especially if we want to keep playing it at other shows. But
well, I mean, do we want to talk about the cover?
Yeah, well, the thing is, this is going to be out probably after we get done with this. I don't know. When are you planning on?
Yeah, most likely. So,
right.
I mean, we can just fucking talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so we're doing Lamb of God cover. We're playing Laid to Rest at our next show.
Imagine that. It's the one that I posted on the Instagram.
I know. It's almost like it was a teaser for what's to come.
Even though at the time it totally wasn't, but now it is.
Yeah, but like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Just go with it. Shut up.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not good at this.
Yes, you are.
But,
yeah, but what's interesting about this is that, with every cover, we try to make our own and like put our own little spin on it, whether it's just like we add a little extra riff here and there, or maybe, I don't know.
Some hits, some we'll do a little double bass run or something.
Yeah, and in this instance, even though Shane's our lead singer, he's not going to be singing on this one. It's actually our guitarist Josue.
Yep.
That's going to be taking charge of the vocals, and
he's putting his guitar down.
He's putting his guitar down. We're just doing one guitar, one bass, one drummer, and
we got to make that sound like big.
Yeah,
So,
and also, which I love that, like, he, started doing this as well. Like, Josue, for certain, like, verses and certain parts, has, like, started throwing, like, Spanish in there as well. Yes. And it sounds fucking sick that way. I love it.
It sounds like us, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. No matter what it is, if we can't make it more complex, like this song, there's no way that I'm going to make it more complex than it already is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not dumbing anything down. I'm pretty proud to say that.
Yeah.
All the pieces that I'm playing, I think, are almost just like how Mark plays it.
Yeah.
But I think that, if we can't complex up the music, then, it might be we do something like add some Spanish words, especially if Josue is singing, because he speaks fluent Spanish. I mean, why would we not take advantage of that?
Yeah.
And so... it really helps shed some light on heritage and all kinds of stuff. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that, like, I can't wait to see the reactions of, like, people, especially if they're if they're Lamb of God fans, and like I can't wait to like talk to some of those people after the show. It's like, yo, we're throwing like fucking like Spanish in there, and like, oh my god, and like, you know, and like the people that like have seen us and know us, and it's like, and fucking Josue was like taking the stage or whatever, like, you know, it just, I can't wait for it. I can't wait to see people's reactions.
It's such a payoff. It's such a payoff.
Yeah,
you know, being able to see everyone's reactions and having them enjoy the content that we put out, whether it's podcast or music or anything. I mean, it's that right there is such a huge support of just it means more to us than we can ever like literally explain.
Yeah, and speaking of payoff, I mean, we were talking about this a bit earlier, but also, you know, there is definitely a level of like payoff and satisfaction whenever it comes to, you know, learning a cover in the first place, but also being able to put your own spin on it. I mean, we were talking about this with Andrew, you know, and he was like, honestly, I didn't think, I mean, I don't remember how he said it, but
he said he was going to pull the plug on it.
Yeah, he was going to pull it, because he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play it, but I mean, I don't think there was a doubt in any of our minds that like he could, because I mean, Andrew's a fucking amazing bassist, but I mean, you know, he's incredible, but I mean, you know, it is just one of those things where like, you know, sometimes you can't always see that in yourself.
No, I get that. Yeah, and yeah, kind of going back to the conversation that we were having before about all this, it's, you know, I used to learn riffs, man. That's all I'd learn. I'd learn, you know, like Crazy Train riff or Iron Man. You know, I'd learn the main part that everybody knew, but then I wouldn't continue because I had no reason to. You know what I mean? Like, I just learned the cool parts that everybody knew and liked, and then that would be it.
Yeah, there's something about like having a reason to learn something, like a show, that just like makes the process a whole lot more like straightforward, you know, and just like, I don't know like why that is, like if it's something to do with like motivation or something, but it's just like whenever I want to learn a new song by myself, like sometimes, you know, the motivation will just come to me like that. I mean, like a while back, you know, I was like, oh, I really want to learn this Deftones song just because I really, you know,
you like it.
just because I like it, and I did, and I fucking learned it, and I mean, I probably have to relearn it. It's been a while since I played it, but you know, but then other times like I'll, you know, try to learn another song, and it's just like the motivation's not there for some reason.
Yeah,
and I don't know why that is, but it just comes and goes, I guess, just like with anything.
Oh yeah, well, like whenever I learned Memento Mori, right, by Lamb of God, and I was thinking I might pitch it to the guys, but it wasn't something that I wanted to pitch yet. Like, I wanted to learn it for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I find myself doing that a lot, where if I learn a song, I want to pitch it to you guys because I want to play it, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Honestly, playing learning the Deftones song, it was My Own Summer. Like that is something that I did want to pitch to you guys at some point, but anyway, yeah, keep going. Yep.
Yeah, and there's that little part of me that's like, okay, sometimes you got to learn it for you before you can. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that I don't think that I mean, I feel like I would have felt exactly the same way that Andrew did about Laid to Rest if I was in his position, because whenever I learned that song, like that song took me years to learn. It wasn't one that I just picked up and I learned all the pieces all at once. Like I learned that first little riff, and there's video of me, I think on my Facebook, of me playing the Lamb of God riff, you know, the Laid to Rest riff, the main one. But that was also, once again, that was me only learning that one thing. And then it wasn't until after I joined the band and I started getting more confidence in my playing and all that stuff that I realized that I could do the rest. And so I picked up the rest, and then I learned all these little pieces, and then I had it all figured out and formulated. And then whenever I brought it to you guys, then, you know, well, first of all, Josue's not singing on it, so he didn't have to learn it. He knew the words already. You pick up on things really quickly, and I think that you already had kind of an idea as to how to play the song. I think that you kind of touched up on it. I could be wrong, but I thought that
Laid to Rest?
For Laid to Rest.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, we did... Are you talking about like this most recent time that we...
I just mean in general. Like,
in general?
You knowing kind of, you know, your approach to whenever you first started learning this.
Well, in the case of Laid to Rest, my job was made a lot easier because, you know, it was one of those rare instances where I was able to find the sheet music for free online.
Right.
So that makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, it's just like once I learn how to read it, then the rest is just memorizing it.
Yeah, and then that's muscle memory.
Yeah, it speeds things up so much.
But Andrew didn't really have any of that. He had tabs that he looked at literally he really looked at for the first time.
Yeah.
Like last week. And then he learned the whole damn song, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, little kinks here and there that he's still working out, but nothing. Absolutely, we play through it. We get through the entire thing. That's what impresses me the most about Andrew is like he doesn't quit, man. He keeps going.
Yeah.
He'll make it work. If he decides that it's gonna work, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
But, you know, kind of talking about approach, like when you're looking at a new song, right? Whether it's a cover or it's something we're writing, where does your mind go? Like what is your initial approach when you're first either picking up, like I said, a song that we're covering or one of ours?
Well, they're two pretty different approaches. I mean, because, I mean, if it's a cover, then, I mean, the drums is, I'm trying to, like, figure out a good way to word this. Okay, so, when it comes to, you know, writing versus, like, approaching a cover, you know, like, when learning a cover, it's like, there's one factor that is kind of taken out, at least initially, which is like the creative aspect of it. Now that can come later, like once I've already learned it, and then I can start putting my own spin on it. But like, you know, there's already pre-established parts, so it's just like picking them out. So at that point, it's just figuring out, you know, how can I pick it out at that point? You know, like, I don't know, like if it's like a modern song, it's definitely a lot easier just because with like modern day like production, and most likely, you know, there's like covers of it on YouTube, so I can pick out parts easier. I can find videos of people playing it, especially if it's a popular song.
YouTube is such a great
YouTube
tool.
is YouTube University, man. Fucking best tool. You know, seriously.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, you know, the beauty of YouTube is, you know, I can, especially if it's a really difficult song, I can like physically see somebody playing it, and that really helps out a lot. But as far as when like we're writing a new song, then obviously creative mode is, you know, fully in there from the start. But I'm also having to rely a lot on you guys, especially whoever comes up with the idea first. Like, you know, this new thing that we've been working on, you know, I'm pretty much only listening to you because you're the only one out of all of us that knows what you're doing.
With the direction.
With the direction, because you brought the idea to the table, and you have ideas in your mind of like where it's going. So as of right now, I really only have to listen to you. You know, when it comes to this new one, and in just finding out, you know, how you're playing the guitar can best be brought out by what I can do on the kit. Whether, you know, as far as like how I approach like my patterns and like what the groove is going to be. So, I mean,
what do you listen for whenever you're doing a pattern, right? And you're listening to me in my whatever pattern I made on the guitar. What parts do you listen for, and where does your mind go whenever it's like, okay, I want my bass drum kicks to add up with this, and I want the tom to be with that? Like,
well, borderline, I just purely, as a drummer, I just purely listen for accents.
Okay.
You know, which notes are accented out. You know, that'll most likely determine the kick pattern, because if the time signature as it is right now is very clearly 4/4.
Right.
So that makes my job easy right there. So it's like, okay, I have two options here. Either I can, you know, do a 4 on the floor beat where it's like the snare is on 2 and 4, you know, or I can do it halftime where the snare is only on 3, you know. And, you know, right now it's pretty much just 2 and 4. So whenever I'm listening for your accents, you know, since I've already got my main snare decided, then from there I'm like, okay, so then I'll try to accent with the kick drum. And then if I find little areas that aren't necessarily accents, then maybe I can, throw in some extra snare hits that can be more ghosted. That way they're not so prominent and they don't get in the way of things.
Nice.
I mean, that's just breaking it down like, I don't know, just as clearly as I can like just word it out.
Right.
And then as far as like cymbals go, as long as it's like nothing that's going to get in the way or throw anybody off, I kind of have free reign over there. But the main thing that I focus on first is the kick and the snare, because for a drummer, that is
It's your bread and butter.
that's the bread and butter. It's like, like borderline for a group of drums to be considered a drum set. You need a kick drum, a snare drum, and a cymbal, usually a hi-hat. But, I mean, it can be really any cymbal for it to borderline be considered just this is the most basic version of a drum set. One kick, one snare, one cymbal. So it's just, once you got that figured out, then it's just,
everything
all
else,
bets are off from there. But
everything
you
else
got,
is kind of plug and
but
play.
I have to figure that out first.
I'll get you.
Yeah. I mean, what about you? I mean, what's your approach to like, covers versus, writing?
Very similar when it comes to the covers thing. It's you want to learn the song, obviously, and you want to figure out what the person who wrote it, where they were in their mindset is. Well, at least me, like I want to figure out how they approach their writing and stuff like that. And then, I mean, I have my style, right, and I know what I'm good at as far as like the little, trills or whatever, squeals and all that stuff. If I can fit them in, I'm gonna. But it's usually after the song has already been. I've already figured out how to play it.
Yeah.
And figured out how they play it.
Yeah, and same here. I mean, as far as like figuring out like, it's like, do I want to, or do I need to play every fill note for note, or can I just like have fun with it?
It also depends on how important those fills are to the song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So like if let's take Becoming, right, as an example for the Pantera song.
Yeah.
If you didn't do those kicks, people are going to call you out on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If I'm blanking on a guitar song, but you know what I mean? Like if I don't do the right thing in a certain song and people love that part of the song, they're not going to like our version of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like excuse me, I'm like trying so hard not to cough right now.
You're good, man. Cough, get it out.
It's like trying to like take that, that iconic like drum like in Smells Like Teen Spirit, the taka-dungu, taka-dungu, taka-dungu,
Right.
ta. It's like trying to take that out. It's like you can't. It's an iconic part of the song. It needs to be in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, down, 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 da da down, 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 wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
In Black Hole Sun.
yeah. If you don't do that right, then people like that's some people's favorite part of that song.
Yeah.
And it's
at that
almost-
point you're trying to rewrite the song.
You're bastardizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking too much away. So you have to find the happy medium. You want to do it the right way. But
Yeah.
you also want to do it your way, the way you enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know a lot of people would say, well, sometimes you can't have it both ways. You can't.
I disagree.
You can. you can do it in a way that is respectful to the people who made the song.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's why I'm doing the cover.
Yeah.
I'm doing a cover because I love this song and I respect it, but I am also not those players. Like I'm not as good as them, but that we also have different styles.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if like, Disturbed did that cover of Sound of Silence? Can you imagine like that it would be nearly as like popular or successful as it was if Disturbed didn't do it their own way, and if they just tried to do note for note the Simon and Garfunkel like original acoustic folk version? It's like
there's no point.
There's no point.
There's no
I mean,
point.
that song already exists.
Oh.
It's like, and it's there, and it's an amazing song. But also, Disturbed's version is amazing in its own way.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Same. Johnny Cash hurt.
Yeah, like I mean, there's no reason for him to do it exactly like Nine Inch Nails did it. They already did it.
They already did it.
Yeah.
Hey, he made it his own.
Exactly.
And I look at our House of the Rising Sun cover, and I feel really, really good about that cover, and everybody that we've talked to really likes it. Who's heard it and all that stuff. So there must be something that we're doing, like something that we're capturing that other people can see attached to that song.
Yeah.
Right. Like you mentioned, Sound of Silence, right? Like that song, the way Disturbed did it, on one hand you can say, well, the original captured it perfectly. Well, yeah,
Sure.
it did. But that doesn't mean that there's other versions out there that people want to hear.
Yeah.
Or that there's not other versions that people want to hear. Like,
hell, another famous example, Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You."
yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on. Like, that's originally a Dolly Parton song, and obviously, a Dolly Parton fucking music icon, whatever.
Stands on its own.
Yeah, and even she acknowledges that, like, if people, and people have said in front of her, like not even thinking about it, like, oh yeah, the Whitney Houston song "I Will Always Love You," and she's like, you know what, like, it didn't bother me because she did an incredible rendition of it, and whenever people say like refer to it as a Whitney Houston song, she's like, you know what, I get it, because she did an amazing job with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of artists aren't like that, but that's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it would make me feel good if somebody did like a starting over cover.
Oh my God.
And they killed it, and people really enjoyed it. Like,
yeah.
I think of The Thunder Rolls, right?
Yeah.
And there's two bands that I really like that do a cover of that song, All That Remains, and then another one called Overseen. And I just got to give it to them. Overseen killed that song. They even added another verse.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, at the very end of the song, they added a verse where the wife runs into the bedroom and grabs a gun and looks in the mirror and says, "He's never going to do this to me again."
Nice.
And it's like, whoa, it just like put the cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
And they built the song very well. I just like from the, I think they even started out like, with the thunder and all that stuff. And, he starts out on that lower vocal range, and then he builds his way up to where he eventually is, he's full voice singing, yelling, and it sounds great. That's kind of my approach when it comes to covers. When it comes to original stuff, like stuff we're writing, and I'll use this most recent one kind of as my launching point because it's just right off the top of my head. It's on my mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't stop myself from writing, and it gets me in trouble with the band.
I mean, trouble, quote unquote.
I know. But it's still like we got projects and things that we're doing, and we, but sometimes there's songs that I can't ignore, and this new one that we're writing is one that I was rehearsing in the back room over there, and I was, just at home doing my own at home practice with singing. And I had to stop and come back in here in the front room and just start writing this song. It just got to the point to where I couldn't stop thinking about it.
I mean, hey, if it's to the point where you can't ignore the idea, then that's a pretty clear sign then that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
We joke about it just because we're like, look, we're already sitting on 2 albums worth of songs. We're finally releasing our fucking first one.
Yeah.
And we're just like, Jesus Christ, we're going to be so behind. But at the same time, it's just like, we're going to write this shit eventually anyway.
Yeah,
and also it's like, we all want to work on new stuff all the time. We lie to ourselves and say, we lie to ourselves. No, seriously, we lie to ourselves and say like, oh no, we should really just, hold off. It's like, we don't really fucking mean it. We just want as much shit.
We're just trying to take seriously the stuff that we already have written and not forget about it and move on and all that stuff. Like, because at the end of the day, if we didn't have this first album done, where it is, and then we're going, okay, well now we just have another album, and then that's basically it for all the stuff we have written.
Yeah.
Then, I feel like if we just kept writing, then I would have forgotten majority of the stuff that we wrote in the past, because there would be no reason for us to continue.
Yeah.
But with this new one, man, I just kind of let a feeling kind of take over, and I'll find. Usually it starts with like my open note, and then I'll find one that goes along with that, and I'll just start making like different, finger shapes until I start finding notes that kind of cling together. And I mean, that's literally how I've written. That's how I wrote Chitamos. That's how I wrote.
Yeah.
Inside My Mind, there's all kinds of stuff that I wrote. Basically that exact same way.
Yeah.
Which is just I'm just playing. I'm just messing around until something sticks.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened with this one. I mean, and it wasn't even in the same setting. It's just like, if you look at my phone, I've got hundreds of guitar riffs that I've written.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You've definitely shown us before.
And we haven't even gone through a quarter of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a lot of them have turned into a lot of our favorite songs.
I mean, hey, it's a good sign for the future, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Never run out of ideas.
Yeah, and we've got, that's how Hunger for War was written, Starting Over, all these, these bigger, heavier songs have been just stuff that I've been messing around with. I'm like, oh, I got to record this.
Yeah, I really got to get back into doing that again, because it's something that I've, we haven't done in a while, because I'm trying to think of, the last time that, we've had this, speaking of, songs that we need to, finish writing. I mean, we have that instrumental song we've been working on forever, there's a couple of drum riffs in there that have come from, not old recordings, but just previous recordings before. And, before that, the only other thing I can think of is, Time to Kill, because that song literally started with me, just having a drum riff that I showed Josue and Anthony, and we're just let's write to this. But it's just something that I haven't done in a long time, and I'm just I really need to start saving ideas again and trying to pitch them to you guys.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it's what better way to record just you just dicking around than to literally record it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how many times I have sat over there and played riffs and thought, wow, man, this would be a great song, or this would be cool to, and then I'm too lazy to pick my phone up or go get it because it's charging in the other room or something like that, and then it's gone. I forget it, and I might get similar or close to what I had before, but the cadence is all wrong, or the hits are all wrong, or whatever, and man, that's a bummer when you lose something. You're like, this is gold, and then it's gone. But
it's what could have been.
Yeah, when it comes to heavy riffs, that's basically just me turning on a backing track, like a drum backing track or something like that, and then just boom, just going with the drums and letting the drums kind of take me on whatever journey I need to.
Yeah.
And that's why I like just jamming with you, because all of a sudden I'll make stuff up, and you and I will make stuff up on the spot.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of change what we're doing based on what the other person's doing, and then we eventually find something mutual in the middle, and it fits, and it's great. But doing it to backing tracks, I have to listen to what they're doing, and I have to go with what they're doing, because they're not reactive. They're not going to change based on what I'm doing.
Yeah, I guess that's the only reason. That's the only reason that stops me from trying to use backing tracks as opposed to just jamming by myself or with you guys. Just because I don't know, I've tried to do it before, and I just can't get into it. As far as trying to write something new, it ends up being a good exercise for me trying to get better at improvising, but I mean, I never find anything that I would actually want to use for the band,
Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
But that's just me.
Yeah. So the well, and then whenever I'm like, okay, well, this isn't like I'm just not striking gold or anything when it comes to what I'm doing on the backing tracks, I might I'll turn off the backing tracks and it'll just be me, and then I end up writing something like off time.
Yeah.
Which I love writing off time stuff, but it's always an accident. It's not like I'm like, I'm gonna write this in 7/8. I'm gonna write this in 5/4. Whatever.
I mean, literally, that's how those odd time parts that are in the instrumental songs we've been working on forever, like that's how those came about too. And honestly, I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And another thing that, like,
I'm not a music theorist, so
I'm not. Hey, I'm fucking not either.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Yeah, but
you can read music.
I can read drum music. That's a far cry from being a fucking music theorist. But
Closer than me.
I'll take it. No, but what confirms that for me also is like being the best way to do it. Literally, that's how fucking Dream Theater does it. Now,
really?
They have a much better understanding of it than we do. That is without question. I mean,
absolutely.
For fuck's sake, they're all Berkeley graduates. I mean,
Yeah.
But literally, I mean, in interviews, like there's so much shit about like John Petrucci and like Mike Mangini and Portnoy all saying, like it's like, oh yeah, I mean, this odd time thing, it's like it literally was just an accident that we figured out later and was like, oh, it happens to be this. Yeah, cool.
Oh, I love that.
It
makes me feel better about myself.
Well, yeah, because I mean, that's so much more natural than like trying to. All right, now in this bar, it's gonna be 7/8, and then here I'm gonna be fucking weird and switch to 11/16 because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
It's just like, and I've done that before, and it's fun, and it's like a cool creative, like, I mean, not even really creative, but it's a cool like little exercise for myself just so I can get used to playing an odd time. But to me, that's all it's really good for when you try to force it like that.
Yeah.
Like, as far as writing, I mean, not saying that I could never come up with something that I would like, but I'm just saying I think it's less likely to happen that way than just letting it happen.
Well, kind of looking at that kind of stuff, I think of, and I can't remember where I saw this or where I heard it, and I've heard this years ago. Like I said, I can't remember the source though, but somebody was talking about reading Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
And reading that, it was somebody who was like with an orchestra, right?
Yeah.
When they read it all and they were trying to do like a big rendition of it. If you try and read that, apparently it's nuts to read.
Yeah.
Especially the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now to see.
Right?
Holy shit.
It's apparently nuts. Oh, what's it look like? Crazy?
I'm like reading. Okay, I mean, granted, this is off of Reddit, so I mean, yeah. So it's I mean, granted, again, this is from Reddit, but I'm not looking at the actual sheet music. But the title of the article is Metallica and the Missing 30-Second Note. So the exact timing of a bar that is supposed to be in 5/8 in Master of Puppets. So holy shit. Is actually closer to the time signature 21:32. So that's
crap.
21 30-second notes in a measure. So okay, let's try to even that out a bit. Okay, so let me pull out my calculator here. This is how fucked it is. I need to pull out a calculator for this. So let's even that out. Instead of 21:32, let's say it's 22:32, right?
Okay.
So divided by 2, that would be, 16th notes. Mm-hmm. So divided by 2, so that would be 11/16. So that's 11/16 notes. If this were a 22:32, which it's not. So
it's a 21:32.
So let me count this out on my fingers. So 1 E and so that's 4. 2 E and that's 8. Yeah. 3 E and
it's 12.
Would be 12. So it would be 3 E and. So it's like 1 E and to 2 E and to 3 E and. It doesn't get to 12.
And is that the part that's
and this isn't the time signature. This is if I evened it out.
Holy crap.
So that's not even the time signature. So it's missing a 30-second note. So I don't even know how to fucking count that. Because the thing is, even in high school band, whenever we had to count out 30-second notes, all we did was we just said 1 E&A twice. So there's not really an accurate way of counting 30-second notes. At least I mean, I'm sure there is, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I would literally just be counting like, you know, 1 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 3 and a, like that.
Holy
and
crap.
Which is fucking insane and totally impractical to do. You know, at that point, you're just better off counting 1, 2, 3, 1 and trying to do a weird hiccup to catch up.
Yeah, and that just comes down to people playing fluently.
Yeah.
Because it's effortless for them.
Yeah, and Lord knows, I mean, I love Metallica, but like, let's be like, that obviously was not intentional.
Right. And that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Back to. It's like, it's not intentional, but it's fluent and it's just, it feels right. It has everything to do with the feel, and that's why music is so alive.
Yeah, and there's a reason why Master of Puppets, the song and the album, are as iconic as they are.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, it's fucking incredible. You know, who cares about it? You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether it's fucking 21-32 or fucking whatever.
Whatever. It could be 4/4 the whole way through.
It could be 4/4 the whole way through, but it's not. And it's one of the reasons why it's so incredible.
And it was legitimately them just jamming and making this thing sound the way it does.
Yeah.
You know, they have the skill to back it up, but I highly doubt, like you said, that they went into it with a staff up.
Yeah, and
they were looking at
writing it out. Yeah.
No, man, they got in the studio or in the rehearsal space and they cranked that shit out.
Yeah.
They made it how great it is because it was all just them doing what they love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it comes down to. If you're gonna do music, you have to do it because you love it.
Yeah.
You know, like there's people who, I do it for the money or I do it for the fame or I don't care about.
Buddy, you're in the wrong profession.
Yeah, man. It's about, you know, music's alive and it's within you.
Yeah.
And you want to spread it with everybody that you can, you know,
yeah.
and share it.
And at the end of the day, it's like how it ends up coming about is like at the end of the day, that's trivia. That's details.
Oh yeah.
The point is it came about, it's here, and you know, I love it. You know.
Well, and kind of going back to Metallica, they just dropped a new song.
They did.
And I have heard very mixed things about it.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend, I was like, man, what do you think of the new Metallica song? He's like, I hate it. I'm like, damn.
What was it, Colin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that sucks.
I get it.
But I get it. I mean, I understand, like, everybody has their standard that they put musicians at. Mm-hmm. And, you know, his thing is he thinks that, well, man, they've been doing this for so long. They should, I feel like they should have given us more or something like that, which that is an aspect and an avenue you can go down. And I could see it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get it.
And who knows, they might, you know, this is one single off of an upcoming album. So who knows?
I think that they dropped that single. I mean, there was really, because I think about when we dropped our singles, there was a lot of like thought process that goes behind it. And like, you're trying to show people what this album holds without them hearing the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to show us they're going back to their roots.
And it definitely shows that, for sure.
Yeah. And, you know, is the riff the most like complex thing? Not at all. The solo, in my opinion, was a little sloppy. It's not Kirk's best work, but it's badass. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Like, It is. I like it. I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
And just because it's not their best song doesn't mean that it's not awesome. I think the production was great. I think that people were talking, you know, and this is the internet. We were talking about this earlier. You're going to get haters, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, I read an article or two about people like talking crap about Lars's drum set. Imagine that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
which time?
Yeah, not saying anger. Not this time, at least. No, the bass drum. People were talking crap about the bass drum.
Yeah, about like how
it's too high pitched or something.
Like too high pitched or something. Which
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
I think that as far as the drum production, this is probably the nicest his drums have sounded since the Black Album. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, if you go back and like listen to that, I mean, granted, this came out in fucking like 1991, I think is when that came out, and I mean, it's talked amongst like drummers and producers alike. It's like one of the most it's just one of the best fucking drum sounds on any fucking rock album, like, ever.
Well, and then people,
it's just fucking great. Like, I don't know how to put it into words just because I don't have the...
It's iconic.
I don't have the technical, like, know-with-all to, like, explain it, but it's just, there's something about it that's just, I mean, yeah, just iconic and just, like, it just, everything just sounds
like
right.
The golden standard for, you know, whenever you make an album, do your drums sound as good as a Black Album?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's your bar.
That's the bar, yeah.
But, you know, there's people who are talking about it and like, oh, well, he's using, like, it almost sounds like sample drums or blah, blah, blah.
What, for, like, the Black Album or for the new one?
For the new one.
For the new one.
Which, who gives a damn? There's
Yeah.
sampled drums. If there's sampled drums, there's still drums.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what everybody's issue is. Everybody's got a silver spoon stuck up their ass sometimes when it comes to this stuff.
Either way, fucking Metallica, they're laughing their way to the bank at this. Like,
Dude,
who cares?
I think...
You think any of them give a fuck?
Right. Right. No, I mean, I think they care about the real fans, you know. People
Of course,
who really,
yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that people who criticize this song aren't real fans.
Yeah.
I think that everybody, you know, everybody's got an opinion. Music is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the reason why it's so beautiful in my mind is like,
Yeah.
not everybody has to like the same things. If you want to go do your thing and listen to your music, go for it. You're not going to force it on me. I'm going to listen to my thing. But hey, sometimes we can get together and we can show each other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, it's great. But I think that, you know, if they weren't doing it for the people that truly support them, then they wouldn't still be doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
They make way too much money to still be in the game at this point if they didn't love what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I mean, you know, overall, like you know, your thoughts on the song, like you like it, you think it's a good song, like you're into it, you like it. Yeah, I mean,
I dig it.
You know, I'm trying to like figure out how the best way to word this. I mean, overall, blanket, like, I like the song. I don't know if I like it enough to warrant repeat listening to it, but I don't think it's a bad song. And I definitely think people like are way too harsh on it because there's a lot to love about it. I mean, again, like the aspect of like, it's like going back to their roots. There are some sections, there's like a lot of like riffs in this song and like a good chunk of it that give me vibes of like Hit the Lights and of like, you know, of their first album, Kill 'Em All. And I mean that in the best way possible. I don't mean it as like, I think, that Metallica is trying to rip off early Metallica. I don't think that's it at all. I think they're doing it just because they want to, you know, go back to like, you know, to the beginning and like to like where they started.
Well, I mean, can a band really rip itself off like that? I mean, no,
I don't think so.
It's
I mean,
like,
because it's just them. It sounds like Metallica.
I think that, and maybe this is just my true bias coming through a little bit. Like, I have loyalty to bands that I have listened to since I was very young.
I get that.
And whether they know it or not, like, I want to stick by them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to enjoy all the things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I enjoy their style, I enjoy their lyrics, I enjoy the image. I'm into it. They've sold me.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come out with a new song, I initially, like, my bar doesn't start in the middle, right? And like, oh, do I like this? No, I already like it. It's from this band. I know I like this band.
Mm-hmm.
I give them the benefit of the doubt, regardless of initially what I hear from the song. And yeah, so that probably plays a little bit into it as well. But yeah, that's just how I've always done things.
Damn,
I guess.
I'll be honest. I don't think I'm like that, honestly.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
I think I'm more like in the middle of just like. I mean, obviously, if it's a band that I love, I'm gonna give more of a fuck about it,
right?
And actually like listen to it whenever I see that like, oh, they have something new out. Let's check this out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have any preconceived like, oh, I'm gonna love this or I'm gonna hate this or anything like that. You know,
I love it because I want to love it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
But it doesn't mean that I don't break things down and break things apart whenever I hear things that could be better or could be worse. Like even in this song, right?
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think that Kirk's solo was just a little bit sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
And that really came from, I watch Ola England a lot.
Yeah.
And so I was watching him, like the day after it came out, he came out with a video where he's like, I'm going to learn it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like and he sat down and it's Ola Learns. And he learned it, and I watched how he played it. And then I watched how he had to try and like figure out the solo.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I feel like I've definitely seen Kirk do better.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, just I'm not afraid of like breaking things down and going, oh, well, you know, I think that this could have been better or this could have been better. But, you know, I don't know any, well, I actually was going to say I don't know any artist that finds that they've topped themselves out, but Godsmack literally just came out and said, yeah, this is our last album. you know, because they believe that they're not going to make any work that's better than this last album.
Damn.
Yeah, Sully came out and
it's a bold statement to make it by your own music.
Well, and I get it too. I mean, maybe it's the bias coming out again, but I understand what Sully's talking about when it comes to his feelings on it. Like he talked about how he didn't expect them to be like 75 years old still doing this and still writing music.
Yeah.
With Godsmack, at least, you know. He feels, and I guess he was speaking for the whole band, they feel like they really kind of put the cherry on top on this latest album because they brought it back to the roots. You know, they have the original Godsmack, you know, self-named album that they came out with, and that was like their debut album. Well, this new one, it was like that, just on steroids apparently, and this thing just goes, and they you know, there were other references in this album to the first album and the next, you know, to the previous albums.
So, I mean, it sounds like in a way they've come, like, at least in their eyes, they've come completely full circle. To where now they're at, like, both in a way, like, where they started, but also where they always wanted to be.
Yeah.
But also because of that, now maybe they've, you know, they feel like they've done everything now.
Well, and the way he kind of explained it, the reason why it made so much sense to me is because you look at it like a film, right? Like, there's always an end to the movie you're watching.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, it's always much better whenever the guy who first started making the films was the guy who ended the films, right?
Yeah.
And it's all the same members, and it ends the way they wanted it to. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to continue to share this body of work that they have done. Over, like, they're not breaking up. They're just, they're taking that body of work that they made, and they're going to tour that. They're going to show off all the songs that they've ever made.
Yeah.
And continue to do Godsmack shows and continue to bring the fans what they want. Because the fans love all the old stuff and they love all the new stuff.
Yeah.
They're just saying, look, I don't think that we can make another Godsmack album. And I think it would just be continuing, you know, something that already has the cherry on top of it.
Yeah.
You know? So that makes sense to me, man. I think it's great. And the thing is we've already talked about doing kind of something similar, but not to the point of like having an end when it comes to, you know, some conceptual stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Storyline, story-driven stuff.
Yeah, just as far as like, you know, exploring new territories and new ways of like approaching, you know, writing.
But you can see what happens whenever like the band itself doesn't really get to, you know, write their own ending to their story. Look at Pantera.
Yeah.
Perfect example. It's like, you know, there was so much crap that went on with all the members of Pantera, and then everything kind of fell apart and they didn't get to finish it out the way that they all would have liked to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, and then Dime getting killed and then Vinny dying.
Yeah.
And, you know, forever Vinny was like, no, I don't want a reunion to happen. It's not going to be a reunion without Dime.
Yeah.
And then when he passed, well, now they're doing a reunion, quote unquote, and it sounds awesome because it's Pantera's music. And Zakk Wylde's one of my favorite guitar players, man. He really is. And I think it's great that he's doing this and they're doing this. It's just not the same, He's not Dime.
Yeah.
Whew. And I think, and he knows that he's not. But he's also stuck. He's trapped in the middle of like super hardcore mega fans who are like, oh, you're not Dimebag Darrell, so you can't. It's not the same. Well, no, it's not the same.
Yeah, of course it's not the same.
He's not.
Literally half the band is dead.
Literally, yeah. So what do you? But Zakk literally came out and said that. He's like, guys, this in my mind, this is not a reunion. This is a celebration of
that's all
the awesome music that they did.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, literally, not too long ago,
he's like, what am I gonna say? No, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, but not too long ago. I mean, granted, it's a bit of a different context considering the amount of time that passed is different. It's definitely a much different circumstance. But but Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins died earlier this year,
right?
And they decided to do a tribute concert to him, and they had a bunch of guest drummers on, and it was like all-star like drummers like fucking like Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Travis Barker from
World Class,
Blink 182. I mean, fucking Roger Taylor from Queen, and fucking like so many others, like, and like Josh Freese, who's like an incredible studio drummer who's played on like so many different albums, from like A Perfect Circle to like, I mean, different things I can't even think off the top of my head right now, but all of them playing Taylor's parts. And, I'm seeing these iconic drummers that I've grown up admiring and, seeing them play songs in one of my favorite bands, like note for note, like how Taylor would play it. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, well, one, this is incredible and this is very moving. This is a great tribute. But on the other hand, it's just not the same.
It's not him.
Like, yes, they're playing it note for note, but it doesn't sound like the Foo Fighters anymore. It sounds different.
Oh, and it's the same way with Zakk.
Yeah,
or
exactly. It's going to sound different. Yeah.
Like, Zakk has his very distinct style.
Yeah.
No matter how hard that he tries to play like Dime, his style is going to bleed through. Just like what we were talking about earlier. Like, it does not matter how hard we try and do this Lamb of God song.
It's going to be us.
It's going to be like us, and it has nothing to do with us not trying hard enough. It has nothing to do with Zakk not trying hard enough. It's just
we're literally not the people who made it.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that.
It's physically impossible for my muscle memory to match Mark's from Lamb of God.
Yeah.
It's the same way with Zakk and Dime. Like, they were best friends, right? But, and I love that interview where he's like, yeah, just because we're best friends doesn't mean I knew every one of his songs. Like, I had to learn them.
Yeah.
Try and ask Dime to do Mr. Tinker Train or something like that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's just not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the same thing if Zakk was to be the one who died and Dime was to jump in and do all of Zakk's stuff.
Yeah,
it's going to sound like Dime playing Zakk's stuff. I mean,
no matter what.
No matter what. And sure, it sounds great, but it's not Zakk Wylde.
Exactly.
And sure, it sounds great, but it's not Dimebag Darrell.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie, the guy, he's the drummer for Anthrax.
Yeah.
He's killing it. He sounds awesome, but...
Yeah, and talking about a fucking amazing, an iconic drummer in his own right that, like,
oh, yeah.
people want to, try to play his songs and sound like him, but it's just like, he's his own player.
Yeah.
He's going to play how he plays.
But he's killing it, but he's not Vinny.
Yeah.
Vinny is just, there's this, like you said, it might even be note for note. I mean, notation might be perfect.
It's going to sound different.
But there's a feel, man.
Yeah.
There's a feel that every musician has that you cannot replicate. I mean, you can get close. You can get real close.
Yeah. And it's something that...
It's a tone thing.
Yeah.
It's a setup. It's gear. It's more than just how you play and how precise you are.
Yeah, and it's something that...
How you upkept your gear, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's something that no amount of, like, theory or lessons or, like, knowledge can, like, begin to like replicate. It's just it's something that you inherently have as a musician. It's like as unique as like it's literally your musical fingerprint.
Absolutely.
It's like my fingerprints are not going to match with yours or anybody else's because they're mine.
Yeah.
You know, that's just as simple as that.
Yeah, and musically, it's the same way. I mean, like I look at Wellborn. You're wearing a Wellborn Road shirt right now.
Represent
Tyler is
Texas
such
metal.
Texas metal all day. Tyler's such an amazing guitar player, right? And he's very influenced by Zakk Wylde and players like that.
As are you.
As am I. But you can tell not just by tuning, but gear and all. You can tell when it's Tyler playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's
y'all don't sound anything alike.
right. Yeah, but we're influenced by the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love how moving all that stuff can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's alive. Music is alive, like in my mind, totally. I mean, it helps drive me, helps fuel me. You know, I was super excited to see that YouTube finally came out with that little
I have that music recap
rewind thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I man, both my Valentine, man, they're just. I think it's gonna be that way every year. They're just one of my top bands.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sounds about right. I mean, like I had a couple of like outliers, but like three of my top 5 artists are in my top 5 anyway, regardless of any fucking Spotify thing. I mean, like Metallica, Foo Fighters, and Rush were all on my top 5 artists. It's like, oh, what a fucking shock.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I'm reading a little article off of Loudwire right now. Charlie talking about his first show with Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
And just the first thing I see is, if I say I wasn't nervous, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And we're talking about how, he's an amazing, iconic drummer in his own right. And the fact that he's nervous.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's so many reasons to be nervous.
Yeah.
When you look up and you look behind you on that drum throne, right? And you're at the concert, you see the words Pantera behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, this band is almost, it's like there's so much lore behind it. There's so much like,
and not only that, I watched I didn't really watch too much of the concert, but I also saw he's got 4 bass drums on his fucking setup, because why the fuck not? If you're in those caliber of bands anyway and you can afford it, fucking why not? But
huge drums
on 2 of those bass drums, he also, alongside the ones on the outside that say Pantera, the ones in the middle have Vinnie Paul's face and Dimebag Darrell's face on them.
I didn't notice that.
So it's just not only do you have to look at it and it's oh shit, I'm playing with Pantera. Oh, and I also have to represent these 2 while I'm up here, and they're staring right at me, and they're going to be staring out into the crowd, reminding everybody that I'm not them, and this is who we're celebrating right now.
This is the standard that I'm having to try and meet.
Yep.
And I'm just waiting to see all the haters, because all the haters are about to come out, and they're just going to be like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. It's not Dimebag. They shouldn't be doing this. Dude, just enjoy it.
It's like, you shouldn't be fucking commenting.
It's not Dimebag. It's not.
We know this.
It's not Vinny. But just enjoy it for what it is. These songs are now being played live again.
Yeah.
Which,
by at least some of the people that wrote them.
Yeah.
And performed them originally.
Phil and Rex are there.
Yeah.
And that's great. And, not only...
It's cool to see the 2 of them together again, at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not something that... It's not like they just pulled random musicians out of the blue and then brought them in. Zakk and Dime were very close.
Yeah.
And they were also close with Charlie. So it's these, they all have meaning. They're all part of the same family.
Yeah.
In my mind, musicians, when you get to a certain point as a musician and you start bonding with other musicians, people who are like you.
Yeah.
Who can understand the things you go through to make your album sound good, or make your riffs sound good, or make your show look good. you know, you can bond with these people, and they understand and they get it, and so you form really close bonds. Like, you know, we kind of talked about this last podcast where we kind of shouted out to everybody in our circuit, but you know, I feel pretty damn close to all those people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, closer than I expected ever. And that makes me feel good. I mean, knowing that we're taken seriously and that, you know, we can actually bond with these people. Well, imagine what it's like on that scale where you're touring the world and you see people all over the world. Like, you know, imagine we're in Japan, right? And we see Hefe.
Right.
Or we see Scott, or we, you know, and they're like, oh, hey, man, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. It's been so long. And you catch up and you go, you know, get a couple drinks and you have a good time. And you do that and you just happen to see each other. You know, you're in Canada, you're in Mexico. You're wherever. You could just run into these people. And I think, you know, there's got to be another level to it, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't experienced it yet, but I can just imagine it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, music, I mean, you know, it runs deep in more ways than one.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about all the stuff we have coming up. I know that after we get done with this show, this upcoming Saturday, we've got another show the next Saturday, and that's Terror Fest.
Yeah.
Which we're playing a 20-minute set.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a couple little minor details we got to figure out. But other than that, well, yeah, so I guess, have we explained anything about that yet?
I don't think so, but we sure as fuck can right now.
So we got invited to come and play at this convention that is going on a couple of towns away from us. One town from you.
Yeah, it's pretty close for me.
It's pretty close to you, but for us,
for once,
a little bit of a drive. Not bad at all, like 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's like less than 20 for me.
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
Lucky. But yeah, so we got invited to come to this convention, and it's like the first year that this convention is being put on. It's called Terror Fest, and it's well, at least in our area, I'm sure it's been around. I don't know if it's been around or if this is totally first year or whatever.
We're new to this.
We're new to this, and it's new to this area. So we got invited by a good friend of ours, Chaz Von Graves.
Yep.
He's an amazing musician himself. We met at Prison City Film Festival. Great dude. And I mean, hell, when we were first getting ready to go into the circuit, we asked him to be part of our meeting, and he told us some good, hard truth facts about what we're going to have to experience in the circuit. And he was right. I mean, we've gone through a lot of those things already. And
yep.
And we've been in the circuit, you know, over a year now, which I figured, you know, it would take us a little bit longer to do some of those things than it has. But here we are.
Yeah.
And, you know, anyways, I guess he's noticed that. And we were like one of the first bands, if not the first band that came to his mind when it came to somebody to headline for this Terror Fest. And basically it's a battle of the bands, and there's like, oh shit, how many bands?
I have no
bands?
idea.
I don't know.
Truly.
So let's say there's 8 bands. I don't know. Could be 6, 8, 10, whatever. But
we're supposed to be informing the people about this event. We don't fucking
I don't know all
it.
the details.
I don't know either.
I know
that
some
we're
of the
playing.
details for us. Yeah. But
yeah.
we were thinking we were going to be part of it, but like be contestants in it, but we aren't competing. We're like the special guest artist. And so we kind of go in and we are going to perform, from what I understand, we're going to perform while the judges are judging and being judgy. That's what judges do, right?
It's very judgmental of them.
I can't believe they do that.
It's fucked up. It's not cool.
Well, the judges themselves...
This is music. Isn't it supposed to be art? Like, it's subjective. Like, why are you fucking judging my art? My art.
But the judges themselves are going to be pretty famous dudes.
Yeah.
If I could say so, pretty famous.
Yeah, I mean,
Try insanely famous people.
yeah, I
who've
mean,
helped shape the face of music.
literally like music icons. Like I'm trying to remember who's all
We
in
got
there.
Richie Ramone from the Ramones.
Yeah, members from the Ramones.
He was a drummer. Vinny. Oh gosh, what's his last name? He's from Dio and Sabbath.
Vinny. Hold on, let me look.
Starts with an A. I can't. Yeah, I'm spacing on his last name.
I want to say. Hold on, I'm gonna confirm before I just say it.
I know it
because-
starts with an A.
Yeah.
But and then David Ellefson.
Fuck me, Jesus. I'm sorry.
Damn, dude, you dying?
Yeah.
And then David Ellefson, he was one of the founding members of Megadeth. And they are going to be the judges for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's looking up the last name of Vinny.
I still can't. Oh, here it is. Oh, it is the drummer. I thought. Yeah. I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, but Vinny Appice. He played for Black Sabbath and Dio.
Yep.
And Richie Ramone from the Ramones. David Ellefson from Megadeth. Who else?
And those are the three judges. And so basically what they are competing for is like a cash prize.
Yeah.
And then like a little spot in the little Hall of Fame for Terrorfest and our spot basically. So after we get done, next year, whoever wins this year is going to play our spot next year.
Can I just say something real quick?
No.
I find it pretty funny how...
Okay.
I mean, I hope
What?
this doesn't come off like I'm talking shit on Terrorfest, because I'm very excited to go and to see all these people and hopefully meet the judges. That'd be fucking amazing.
That would be sick.
But I can't help but notice that I don't know.
What?
On the musicians, they have these little like tags just like on the corner just to let you know what they are. So like, for example, underneath they've got this actor, Oliver Robbins, and on the corner it says cult classic child actor Robbie from Poltergeist, right?
Okay, yeah.
As like a description. So for the musicians, they also have this. For Vinny Appice, hold on, let me start with David Ellefson. For David Ellefson, they've got legendary bassist and founder David Ellefson of Megadeth. And then for Vinny Appice, they got Vinny Appice, legendary drummer for Black Sabbath and Dio. And then for Richie Ramone, from the actually legendary bands, the Ramones, they have drummer.
Oh, that's brutal. Dang, who wrote that?
I don't know, but I'm sorry, I couldn't help but notice
I
that.
feel like they have a bias.
That's amazing.
Drummer.
That's legendary, unlike Richie Ramone, apparently.
That's bummer, bro. Well, we are doing a Ramones cover,
Yeah.
which...
And hold on, I just want to clarify. I'm not saying Richie Ramone isn't legendary. That was a joke.
that was what the website said.
This is what Facebook says. I'm not. This isn't my fault.
That's brutal.
That's whoever wrote that. Like needs to check yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck
I
yourself.
think they already wrecked
They
themselves.
totally wrecked themselves.
If they find out who fucking wrote that.
No, but we're doing a Ramones cover. We've been preparing this for months, and we didn't need to. I mean, I'm just saying, bro.
Oh my god. I
It's
swear.
nice.
I
and-
swear we don't have anything against the Ramones necessarily.
No, I don't at all. But the thing is that look, it's just a much simpler song. It's
Yes.
bottom line is it's a simpler song to play than what we're used to. And
Yes.
that doesn't make it any less good, because I'll be honest, I didn't listen to too much of the Ramones to begin with, but
I didn't
after
either.
hearing this song and like it's part of my playlist now. Like
Yeah.
I listen to it, and of course when I'm listening to it, I study it just like how I study every song that we cover. But it's definitely given me more of appreciation for it that I didn't have right off the bat.
Yeah. Sure.
And I am looking forward to playing this, because this, especially playing it in front of one of the members of the band. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy to me
Mhm.
that we get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And it felt good hearing what Chaz had to say about us, and one of the reasons why he picked us.
Mm-hmm.
It being that he feels that we paid our dues in the circuit. Like we've been doing a lot.
We have been.
And it just, we keep coming up with different ideas and projects and things, and we're just trying to do it right. And sometimes it takes a lot of time and quite a bit of money, but we put everything that we have into this, while maintaining our jobs and our lives and our relationships.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
But it's so fulfilling.
It is.
I love it.
I do too. Yeah. And I mean, you know, by extension, I mean, you know, I look at this podcast as, you know, as an extension of that. I mean, this is literally just me, you know, it started off as just me trying to just pursue another passion because I knew I wanted to do it. Just like, you know, I knew I wanted to always be in a band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a much newer passion for sure. But I mean, it's just something that I wanted to do as just an excuse to not only, you know, kind of like, you know, talk about these things and try to understand about like what drives us to do these things and, you know, explore these kind of passions. And it's just, I don't know, it's really nice to actually have like an outlet for this and a reason to fucking talk about this, and also to get somebody else's input on it as well, to try to help me understand it even better.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier, like, you and I have different, I guess, we have different approaches on how we listen to new music.
Yeah.
You know, like, I totally have a bias on bands that I like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say that I don't. It's
right.
just that, like, I guess I just, even if it's a band I love, I don't immediately love it, but I'm probably more inclined to love it.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like I lean more towards the way you kind of described you listening to music whenever it's a band that I don't really know.
Yeah.
Like, I really open myself to, like, up to, okay, what is it that I can enjoy out of this? What is it that I don't like out of this?
Yeah.
And then I start to weigh my options. Is this a band that I would regularly listen to?
Yeah.
You know, like, whenever I first heard Currents, Josue showed me Currents, that band.
Yeah.
And he showed me like one or two songs of theirs, and at first, I didn't like listen to it and like just like die, like keel over. Oh my gosh, this is the best band ever. But then he started to point little things out to me, like, oh, check this little guitar riff out, and you know how it cuts through at this point. And then he started to help me to appreciate a lot more of their stuff. Colin showed me Voyager, and the Australian band I listened to. You good over there? You're dying.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just,
trying not to cough on the mic.
Yeah, pretty much.
But a Voyager, I mean, his voice is incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love, in their guitar player, female guitar player, which is rare in a lot of bands. I mean, you don't see it very often.
Yeah, especially in a lot of metal bands, and especially a prog metal band as well. That's the other thing. That's even more like,
she is incredible.
Oh yeah.
But the one that I found by myself, which I felt really good about, was Bleed From Within.
Yeah.
Like, I love that band.
Mm-hmm.
And, the way that they write riffs and the way they go about, like, writing heavy stuff has influenced me a lot in the past couple of months when it came to, like, octave work, because I love to do a lot of octave work between the E and the D string.
Yeah.
And I just, man, it's great. And then what's that other one that I've been listening to lately? Let me pull up my stuff. That is Pearl Jam. Hang on.
That's definitely not what I was looking for.
That is Yellow Ledbetter.
Pearl Jam.
Let me go to
the pearl that doth jam.
Gross.
You're gross.
Well, I've been listening to that one song by Ghost, Mariana Cross. It's
yeah.
Our Vices. That's the band. That song, Fixed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that thing is just, it goes, man. I love the structure of that song.
Mm-hmm.
I love how, just how it builds, how it's written, all the screams. They wrote it in a way that I would have written it.
Yeah.
I really connected with it. Yeah, man, just going through like my list, like my likes. Oh man, and then I was listening to Wellman Road again today.
I was too, funnily enough.
Really? What were you listening to?
Bury Your Burden.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. yeah, I found a couple of songs that I really, really enjoyed from Silence to Strength. They're like EP.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that song, Uprise of the Downtrodden, is another good one. I don't know if we might have heard that one live, but man, I mean, they've got good stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then I look back on whenever I went to the Polyphia concert,
Mm-hmm.
and like all the Polyphia that I was listening to at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man.
Yeah, I'm looking through some of my likes right now. I mean, some of them, like some of these are just like random finds on like Spotify, and like either they're kind of like just random like alternative, like kind of like moody stuff that I found like just by accident. Like there's a song I've been listening to a lot, "Freaking Out on the Interstate" by Briston Maroney. Just this random like blues guitarist guy that I just found just because like I was on like a John Mayer like radio kind of thing, and like under similar things it was like, oh, this, and I was just like, ooh, what the fuck is this?
Nice.
And then I got some Periphery on here that is just stuff that like I haven't listened to in a while. It's like not new stuff, but it's just like stuff that like I got into initially from them that I just haven't listened to in a while, like Scarlet or Luck is a Constant. Ooh, you want to talk about like you want to talk about a fucking difficult drum part that like I tried to learn for a while and was just like a fucking uphill battle. Luck is a Constant. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Halpern already, is a fucking beast of a drummer, and I've like yet to fucking be comfortable with any of their fucking parts, but still that song in particular kicked my ass.
you hit the nail on the head. Comfortable with parts. Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, like there's so many songs that I'm like, there's no way I could ever play that, in my head. And
I still got plenty of songs like that.
but then I start to learn it, and then it starts to become less and less like a giant mountain, and it becomes like a small hill.
Yeah.
And then afterwards it becomes a plain that I can just run across.
And then you start running up that hill.
Yeah.
To make a deal with God.
And then I fall down it.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know what you were referencing, but
you get him to swap our places?
Nope.
No?
What are you referencing?
Oh, then again, you didn't watch the new fucking season of Stranger Things, didn't you?
I haven't seen one episode.
Yeah, that would explain it.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
It was just so it's this 80s song by Kate Bush called "Running Up That Hill."
Oh,
and I'm sure there's gonna be people who fucking listen to this like going like, oh really? That's the only fucking reason you know that song? Because Stranger. Yes, because I don't fucking listen to Kate Bush.
It's like all the people who are like, you know that song from Guitar Hero? It's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do
know
actually.
it from Guitar Hero.
It's like, look, nothing against Kate Bush. She's not somebody that I came across when I was younger. The 80s music that I listened to was like Metallica, Motley Crue, fucking Whitesnake. That's what I listened. That's the 80s music that I listened to growing up. I'm sorry. I didn't fucking grow up with Kate Bush. My bad.
It's like being married to Jen. She grew up with all this music.
Yeah.
Right? Like I grew up with a ton of music, right? But it was a ton of like rock and metal and stuff like that. It's like I'm pretty well versed on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But then like a random song will come on. We're walking through like HEB or something like that, Aldi, and this song will come on and she knows every word. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how do you know this song? Like, and she's like, oh, I just know it.
Yeah.
Like it's 80s music. I'm like, I feel like I know 80s music, but I know 80s
kind of 80s
rock
music.
and metal.
Yeah.
Not like, yeah, I don't even know. I don't know anything to even give an example, bro.
Yeah. I'm sure you probably do.
I do,
but it's nothing that you could actually like name.
No, I can't name anything.
Name drop like fucking like I don't know like Take on Me, like you know that song.
No, take on.
Yeah, exactly. There's an
me.
example. Yeah, fucking like an 80s pop song. Yeah.
Right, but I don't know all the words.
Sure,
Jen does.
Yeah,
and that has to do with her growing up. Her dad and her mom, and they always had all kinds of music playing.
Yeah, I guess that's really that's where it all starts, really. Just like your parents or whoever raised you and the environment you grew up in.
Well, yeah, it's like my mom she loved she loved all things rock and metal.
Yeah.
Right. And so did my dad. My dad's got a tattoo of Eddie from Iron Maiden on his arm.
It's fucking badass.
It's awesome, right? But, and of course, my grandparents were the ones who raised me on like country music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what do you get when you combine those two things? You get like Southern metal,
Yeah.
Texas metal. You know, that's where a lot of my influence, how I play, really comes out.
And now I'm trying to think of like, I'm like, well then what the hell does that make me? Because I'm trying to like, I'm thinking of like the music that I grew up listening to, you know, from my parents. I mean, my dad, at least, you know, what he would show me. My dad listens to a lot of different kind of stuff, but I mean, most of like what I listened to from my dad was like, you know, a lot of like classic rock, you know, like Led Zeppelin, Rush, you know, but I also got a bit of that from my mom, you know, like something like, you know, like Aerosmith or Journey. But also my mom really loved like, you know, jazz because of her dad growing up. So I also grew up with like, you know, Glenn Miller and like Frank Sinatra and like different stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And I'm trying to think of like well then well, how does that explain my music taste now?
Well,
like,
I don't know if it explains our music taste. I think it explains how we are as musicians.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, you were a jazz drummer.
Not really.
You were in jazz band.
Nah, I mean, yeah. See, the thing is, though, I was a rock drummer in jazz band. That was the thing. Cause
I
also I grew up, you know, listening to like, I mean, like the CDs that like, you know, the albums that I owned were like, you know, Nirvana's Nevermind, Green Day's Dookie, Rush's like 2112, fucking Aerosmith's like. I actually can't remember the name of that album, but whatever. But either way, point is not jazz.
Well, right, but you have the tools to use, and you learned it from your time in jazz.
Yeah, I did.
Right, and you know you just talked about how you listened to Frank Sinatra and you listened to all this other stuff.
Yeah,
you know that your mom's, you know, she helped influence onto you.
Yeah,
and you know. We'd all be lying if, you know, we didn't hear it in a lot of your ride play that you do with some of our stuff. It sounds great, but it's definitely there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I never thought about it like that.
Some of the way you know, the way you'll hit your ride is not like a normal metal player. Like you have different influences that are on you as a musician that come through in your music.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's also because I came into metal late as well.
Exactly.
I mean, like, I definitely, it was there a little bit growing up with, like, you know, Metallica and, like, Black Sabbath and, you know, to some extent, like, Godsmack. But, like, yeah. But that's about where it ended. That's where my metal began and ended, were, like, those three bands. And then it wasn't until I was, like, I mean, I've talked about this plenty of times before. I won't go on it forever. But, like, it wasn't until, like, you know, 18 or 19 years old, I wanted to branch out and try to get better. And, you know, then I started looking at metal drummers. And then that's how the crossover started to happen.
Yeah.
You know, coincidentally, like right before I met you guys, which then really fucking expanded my metal taste, you know?
Oh my gosh. We've all pushed each other so far. You know what I mean? Like in a good way.
Yep.
You know, if it wasn't for the band, there's no damn reason for me to pick that guitar up on the regular basis that I do.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I have no reason to pick up your guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Neither does Josue.
Yeah, I mean...
Or anyone, really.
Yeah, really.
But...
Unless they're freaks.
Freaks.
Fucking lefties. Which is weird because you're not even really a lefty.
No. I was just watching a video on that.
What?
Just like the mentality of like...
Learning how to do things with your opposite hand or something? Or...
Yeah, well... I'd have to re-watch the video. I like skimmed through it.
Oh, okay.
It was basically, I guess it's like less than 1% of the population has the ability to choose like which hand you're dominant with at a certain point in time.
Yeah, so like being ambidextrous essentially.
No, it's not being ambidextrous. That's where you can do things equally with both hands.
Okay. But
But it's like...
So it's literally like choosing, like,
it's
right
like,
now this hand is dominant and now this hand is dominant.
I'd say it's less choosing, but it's like more of just like it happens.
Okay.
So like some people will cast like a fishing pole and they'll use their right hand, right? But when they pitch like a baseball, they use their left. It just happens. And that's, I guess, what happened with me. I'm right-handed, but I picked up the guitar left-handed. And I've explained this many times. It just made more sense for me because in my mind, the complicated stuff was on the neck. That's where I needed more precision and accuracy. And so that's really where that came in. But the mentality, apparently, from this video I was watching, that most people take whenever they pick up a guitar is it's like writing, right? Like when you write, you're writing with your right hand, and that's where you want precision to come in and accuracy. And think about how you hold a guitar pick. It's very similar to how you write, in a way. So I was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. So there's a lot going on with that. What time are we at? That's my thing. Ice maker.
Oh. I thought your cat was getting into some shit for some reason. So anyway, yeah, we are at an hour and 40 minutes currently.
Damn.
Going on for a good while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, nothing really jumps to mind. I mean, we kind of hit the points that I was hoping.
Oh, I didn't even know you. I forgot you had points.
I mean, literal bullet points, like nothing like extensive. So let me see what
you got. Skim
so I forgot that's how I wrote it.
What'd you write?
So yeah, I mean, the bullet points that I had were, wanted to talk about like, you coming onto the podcast and then, subsequently talking about the future of the podcast. We did that. How I wrote it was bullet point 1, enter Shanana.
Thanks. Yeah.
And then second was future of the podcast. And then we talked about, writing process. Most of the episode, we talked about our writing process. And we talked about, our influences a bit.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about the new Metallica song, and that's basically all the bullet points I had. So, we've hit all of them, really.
Yeah, that is, there's the episode.
Yeah, more or less. Shit. But, okay.
A lot more.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good place to start wrapping it up. But before we do, we touched upon it at the beginning, but now that this is going to be the first episode of this sort of a new beginning for the podcast. Yep.
Sure.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about like the future of this, I guess?
I see it. Definitely going somewhere. I see us, regardless of whether we have bullet points or not. Like I said, I kind of forgot that you even had those written down.
It's more of that's really more for me,
Oh yeah.
Just in case. Like I feel like we're getting lost a bit. I'm like, okay, what's something I can bring up? But we hit it naturally without me ever having to really look at this.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. I think we're just gonna keep going up. There's always gonna be stuff that we can talk about with our band, and then there's always news that we can talk about and give our opinions on. And I can't wait to start getting guests on. And once we get things more streamlined, it's going to be a lot easier to do that because we have. I'm sitting here looking at 2 empty spots on our interface right now.
Yep.
And we'll be able to get more people on, and we'll be able to extend it out. And my biggest thing is going to be seeing how this one plays out in the editing, and then seeing how quickly we can get a schedule going.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of logistics that you and I have to figure out. But as far as the future of this goes, this is definitely the most excited I've been about the podcast in a little while now.
Sweet.
And I kind of figured that would happen now that we've got our first episode, recorded.
Yep.
But yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes that we'll see, as time goes on. Eventually
one of the changes is going to be us getting it on camera.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah.
The other thing is going to be us distributing it differently
because I want to get this thing on all the streaming services,
Yep.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all of it. You know, I want it on there.
So we just got a couple of T's to dot and I's to cross.
Pretty much.
And then,
Yeah.
and then we'll be rolling this thing out hopefully on a very consistent schedule. You know, it's
TBD.
to be deed. Yep.
To be to be determined.
To be dicked.
To be dicked around by a couple of assholes with some microphones.
Oh my gosh. This has been a nightmare to get this thing going. I'm just going to say it. This has been a damn nightmare to get at least even this. Like when we first got here, we got everything hooked up. We got the interface connected.
Let it out.
Which we couldn't do last time because someone forgot the power cable. Anyways.
Yeah, what a fucking asshole. Who was that?
What's even worse is that I don't think he even needed it.
Yeah, but we...
Either way,
whatever,
we're good.
We're using it.
Good. So we got the power cable. We got everything hooked up. And then, you know, we got it all hooked up today. And I was getting signal in channel 2. And then we plugged it in to the computer. And no signal in channel 2 or any of the other channels except for one. Except for channel 1. And, so...
And that turned out to be a stupidly simple fix. We were agonizing over and looking up videos and like trying to go through the instructions. Like we must be doing.
We're doing this all on our own.
We have to like. There's something wrong with this thing, but it's really just us.
No, there's an application that comes with the that came with the interface, and there was a button that said, you know, oh, do you want to activate channel 2?
And it's just like,
oh yeah, that would be nice if we did that.
That would be. Yeah.
And we did it, and sure enough, we got signal, and
it works. It's a very simple fix.
So, moral of the story, kids,
just be better.
Just
be better than us.
Just don't even try.
Don't even try.
Because you'll fail like we do.
What was that quote from Spider-Man? It was just like
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Well, no, I mean that is a great quote, but no. From, you know, Zendaya being fucking all moody and shit.
Oh, that one.
Going like expect disappointment. You'll never be disappointed or whatever the fuck. I'm edgy Mary Jane, and that is my character.
Man, you should go and audition. That was great. Killer. All right. Well.
But yeah. Anyway, point being, I don't know what the point is. Anyway.
The point is, don't try because you'll always fail.
Don't try, you'll always fail.
That's the point, at least, of this ending part. Because we're hoping that this works. Because, no, that's not true. Because this is the strike 3 now on us trying to get this episode recorded.
Who even fucking knows at this point?
I think it's at least the third try. But, all right, well.
But anyway, as you can tell, we have no idea what we're doing. But we hope to figure it out along with you guys.
All on our own.
As you hopefully, you know, start listening, continue to listen, whatever, you know?
Appreciate it.
But, yeah. So that wraps up this episode of the Music Chronicles podcast. And we will see you all next time.
Hasta pasta.
Hasta pasta.